All right, seeing as it's 3 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. This meeting is being streamed live through the St. Clair Township website. By attending a public meeting of council, you are consenting to your image, voice, and comments being recorded and published to the Township website. Anyone who is invited to speak will be recorded, and their voice, image, and comments will form part of the live stream and public record. Land acknowledgements. We acknowledge that this land on which we are gathered today is part of the ancestral land of the Chippewa, Ottawa, and Potawatomi peoples, referred to collectively as the Anishinaabe. It is through the connection of the Anishinaabe with the spirit of the land, water, and air that we recognize their unique cultures, traditions, and values. Together as treaty people, we have shared a responsibility to act with respect for the environment that sustains all life, protecting the future for those generations to come. Anybody has a declaration of pecuniary interest, you can say it now or at the time. So we might as well start off with the delegations. 3 o'clock, Tracy Kingston, Corunna Street Festival.
Thank you, Mayor Agar. Just a really quick recap about the Corunna Street Festival. As everybody knows that it's been the third year, another successful year. Thank goodness for the sun. Thank you to Holly for coming out to help. Thank you for Steve and Jeff and for popping by. Appreciate that. So, and also on behalf of the Optimist Club of Moore, thank you for turning it over to our club for make it a little bit easier to plan. So on behalf of the Corunna Street Festival, I just want to present council with a certificate of appreciation for 3 years of funding, because without the support of council and the community, this would never happen. So thank you very much, and I will just present this for your trophy case. There you go.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you.
Yes, it will sit proudly in there. Thank you. Well, we'll move on next. Chief Richard Boyes, donations to the food banks.
We got the disc down pat now. So, good afternoon, Mayor Agar and members of council. On behalf of St. Clair Township Fire Department, I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak this afternoon to share some truly positive news that reflects on the generosity and community spirit that St. Clair is known for. Earlier this year, we partnered with CF Industries to revive St. Clair Fire Department Charity Golf Tournament, which has been on pause since the COVID pandemic. A special thank you goes out to CF Industries for being the title sponsor and driving force in bringing this great tradition back. Their partnership, enthusiasm, and community focus made it all possible, and we're very grateful for CF's continued support of both the fire department and our community. When planning the return of the tournament, our goal was simple: ensure that the funds were raised would go directly to the township, and we needed some place that they needed to have a benefit. So I'm pleased to report that through the combined efforts of our sponsors, golfers, volunteers, and community partners, we raised a total of $42,000 for the food banks. The funds will be divided equally among the 3 food banks, each receiving $14,000. St. Andrew's Food Bank in Corunna, the Brigden United Church Food Bank in Brigden, and the Sacred Heart Food Bank in Port Lambton. Each of these organizations provides vital support to the families, seniors, and individuals across the township. Supporting them is one of the best ways to give back to the community that continues to support the fire department so strongly. I would also like to take a moment to thank the organizing committee, Steve Jonkins, which you'll hear from shortly, Luke Kittmer, Kevin Paul, Davina Anderson, Natasha Robbins, Joel Shaw, and Sean McCann, who is standing there, Kirk Bridges, Steve Bickham, Andrew McMillan, and Owen Ingalls, for their dedication and hard work and made this such a success. These people made it look really easy for us to do, so it's always great. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Steve Jonkins, site manager at CF Industries, whose leadership and partnership were instrumental in reviving the tournament.
Yeah, thank you, Chief Boyes. Yeah, the chief said it really well. I just really want to reiterate, this took a lot of planning by a lot of different people. The support that we had to get this back off the ground when we started talking earlier this year about getting it going again. We weren't sure how easy it would be or how much support we would get from our local vendors. But between the sponsors, the volunteers, the organizing committee, just overwhelming support for this initiative, which really humbled us, and we're very happy to partner with the fire department to get this back going. And I think we're already planning next year's event to build off this year's success, and we hope to make it even better to keep giving back to the community. So a very successful event, very happy and humbled to be able to partner and make this happen. And I think it's a cause that we're all very passionate about and very happy to make the donation. So thank you. Of course.
Thank you, Steve. Now, Mayor Agar, I'd like to invite you to present the checks to the representatives of the three food banks. St. Andrew's Food Bank, Janet Taylor, and I believe Holly Foster.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's great.
Hold on, if we look to the back corner there. You can come closer if you want.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brigden United Church, Barb Stedman and Nanette Barnes. I've got it right? Right? So, sorry.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Wide angle lens.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate that. Yes,
You're
so
welcome.
well
More than welcome.
coordinated.
Thank you. The Sacred Food Bank, Frank Johnson. And Chris? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, wait to the back corner. Great. Thanks very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So again, a thank you to the mayor and members of council for your continued support of the fire department and our community. On behalf of the fire department, I want to extend heartfelt thanks to CF Industries, our sponsors, volunteers, and everyone who participated in this year's tournament. Your generosity has made a real difference for the families across St. Clair. To the food bank representatives, thank you for the incredible work you do every day to help those in need. We are honored to support your efforts. Together, we've raised $42,000, and every dollar went directly to the three food banks. And thank you very much for that. Just a reminder, this is what makes St. Clair such a special place in the community that looks after one another. Thank you again, and we look forward to doing it next year. Thank you very much, Steve, and to the CF.
Thank you to your whole department. Thank you, CF. Couldn't have done it without you, and that's really great. All right, next on the agenda, quarter revision for the McDonald Andrews drain. Being it's now 3:10, according to our clock that does not work up there. The purpose of the quarter revision is to provide an opportunity for all effective ratepayers to challenge their assessment. The court will not hear any appeals related to the design of the drain or the merits of the accompanying engineer's report. Mr. Clerk, have we received any written appeals for this drain?
We did, Your Worship. We received 4, 3 of which are better suited for the design aspect, so they'll be going to the tribunal for the design. The only one we've received specifically for today's tribunal is from Mr. Eyre.
Thank you. So is there anyone present who would like to submit an appeal of their assessment on the McDonald Andrews drain? The engineer for this report is Mike DeVos of Spreet Engineering. Hi, Mike. Thanks for joining us. How are you tonight?
Okay, thanks. Yes, there was an appeal by the heir property. Typically, at a quarter revision, the appellant would state their case, or if the written appeal is sufficient for them, they would just use that. Then the engineer would end up responding and explaining how the calculations of the assessments were made. I do have calculations here that I can distribute to the court. So I don't know how many members, is everybody on the court when you? 5? Okay, so I would typically distribute the calculations to the 5 members. And then as well to the appellants. We have had a previous quarter revision on this drain. The drain was sent back to council after its first submission last year to look at alternatives. Typically, when drains are assessed, engineers would use a method called the modified Todgham method or a Todgham method, which distributes the benefits and outlets based on breaking down the drain into sections and then using proportion of the costs, which was done originally and was done again. The changes in this case from the previous submission to this submission were strictly to relocate the drain at the owner's request, at the heir's request. The heirs felt that it wasn't the proper location for the drain. The initial submission had tried to shift the drain away from cutting as many tiles as possible as it went through the property, as economical and reasonable as we felt as the engineer, but they asked to shift the drain further. And then we did go out, complete the field investigation survey, come up with a preliminary design. We did have an informal meeting to review that. There were some small modifications to even shift it further. We had suggested to go right along the edge of the heir property. They had asked to shift it a little bit further off of the property. In this case, there is a significant increase in cost to shift it that distance. The drain is now longer to go around the property. And when you go longer, it's a relatively flat drain. The drain has to be deeper at the outlet. So we have to create, the downstream ditch has to be a little bit deeper, which means we have to go a little bit further downstream with the open channel to get the depth to match into the original hand drain. This drain is having to go down to the hand drain. So in this case, there was a certain amount of increase of cost to relocate it. And because the only reason it was being asked by the landowner to do it to avoid their property, we didn't feel that the other owners should have to contribute to that. And then the increased cost in this case was charged as a special benefit. There's one special benefit that shows up on the open portion for the additional length and excavation, and another one for the additional length in tile and a little bit of additional clearing. Because the tile is going to be close to the daily property now, we do have to do a bit of a clearing along that daily property, and then also along the south limit of the property to the other heir property, we have to do some additional clearing. And so the increased cost was assessed to the heir property. So I don't think that the appeal is directly challenging the proportion of benefit versus outlet. It's that I think if the heirs want to comment, I think they're challenging or disagreeing with the fact that the additional cost to shift the drain, which is a special benefit, it's not calculated in a mathematical way through the normal process. I think they're challenging that was not appropriate to assess entirely to the one property. So you have the calculations. I'm not going to go through them, not necessarily, not unless the heirs suggest that the original numbers they were adjusted. There was a quarter revision that was held that did adjust the benefit to the heir property down. The heirs had expressed concern that there was a submission to abandon the drain back in the early 1980s to do that, and it was their understanding that the drain was abandoned, and they ended up doing work themselves through their property to provide their own drainage, and they didn't feel that It was their problem to deal with creating a new drain through the property again, and the fact that there was cost being spent. And then the municipality and through the last quarter revision decided to shift some cost off of them. And I did not go ahead and do that at all for this one. We kept the same adjustment. So the same adjustment that was made at the previous submission is there. We did end up shifting the assessment to the municipality versus the county. In the original quarter revision, you can switch it from one property to another that's already on the schedule. The municipality was not on the schedule originally, so we didn't have that ability, or the court didn't have the ability, so the court shifted it onto the county. So we've shifted it back to the municipality, which was the original concern. So that's part of it. That has not changed. We didn't do an additional adjustment at all. We just said we had come up with a proposal that we thought was reasonable. They've asked for that shift. They can pay for the additional cost for the shift. If it's other than that, then that would be up to the heirs to express their own opinions or the court to make their own judgment.
Sorry, forgot my own. Well, Mr. Ayr, would you like to come up? Yep.
Just to clarify,
Oh, hang on, one sec.
Just to clarify what I said before, the people who have submitted appeals, those are being forwarded to the tribunal, and they will be included in both, at this part and the previous part. We're going to be submitting those as is. It's going back to the tribunal at its design phase, as you're probably all aware, so we may have to have another quarter revision. So if you're wondering why I just acknowledged Mr. Ayer's appeal, that's the reason. So you're welcome to resubmit today, but we do have those, and they will be submitted to the tribunal.
Can you just hit the bottom of that disc to turn your, there you go, sorry. Thank you.
Amazing.
Technology.
I said to my wife this morning when I'm sorting through all the paper, trying to find today's agenda and all the rest of it, I said to her, I'm sure there's 3 trees that have died to produce enough paper to get this drain done. Anyway, my understanding is this is strictly for assessment, is that correct? And you received the appeal that we made. I'm going to quote from our appeal, who was not written by me, but written by a grandson that's a lot smarter than I am. Anyway, the proposed drainage works provide no substantial benefit to my lands, and any potential benefits are disproportionately small and those of neighboring properties. The assessment financial contribution of my property is significantly and frankly unreasonable. The boy's learning. It does not align with the negligible benefit my lands may receive from the drainage works. As such, I respectfully request that my assessment under the McDonald Avenue Drain 2025 be removed or significantly reduced to reflect the clear lack of benefit, outlet, and liability on my property. This drain was designed in 1916. I don't know whether you've noticed, but there's probably been a lot of changes since 1916. When we ask for a review by an engineering firm, we expect some changes. That's why we ask for an engineer's report. We're not getting the changes that we desire. Maybe not right, but that's what it looks like. I'm hoping if it goes to the tribunal that we can get some common sense and design something that will make everybody happy. I guess that's about all I've got to say. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mike? You like to respond, sir?
I can respond. At the last quarter revision of the submission, the quarter revision did reduce the assessment. The amount of benefit to the air property for both the open and the closed was relatively small, which which reflected that. And because their property is the one that's now asking to relocate it, no other property is asking to relocate it. There's no particular reason that I see as an engineer that it needs to go around. We can go through the property and connect the tiles that we cut through. We are going to have to cut through some of the tiles on the south side. But by going a much longer distance, deeper drain, and having to go farther with the open ditch, those are extra cost and extra clearing. And I can't see that anybody else should have to pay. The municipality has recognized a stake in this particular drain because of the past and the history. I'm not going to make that judgment for the court as to if the municipality wants to adjust any of the cost. That's up to the municipality themselves.
Thank you. And council, would you like to do anything?
Through the mayor, I'd just like to clarify if the other appeals, if there's any clarity you need or any questions. I know you said they're only going to be asking the heirs to speak, but in fairness, I just want to be 100% clear. Does everybody know what's going on? Asking the appellants.
I could maybe make a few comments about that. Some of the appeals relate to whether the people or the affected properties should be charged or should be included. When we do municipal drains, we establish a tributary area or a watershed area. So who has water that may either leave their property now or potentially leave it in the future if there's some private works done. There was some concern raised with that. We did do an investigation, a formal investigation at the request after the submissions were made. We have determined that our initial layout in terms of the watershed has not changed. It is correct. The one property does have some tiling that goes the other way, but there are not large depressions that trap surface water. So surface water at times will still come into this drain. And in the last quarter revision, we did adjust that property to a lower rate to account for the fact that the subsurface tiling, so the tiling goes to the east, but the surface water goes to the west. So that's already been accounted for, and we did not see any large pockets of land that would capture the surface water and prevent it from coming into the drain. So our assessment, in our view, is correct. It's been proved, we've proved it by taking levels. We've looked at the other property, there was two of them, and they were side by side in the same area. The other property is in a similar situation, but they do not have tiling that takes water out. The particular area that's assessed slopes towards the drain and has no tiles taking any of the water out the other direction. So from a point of view of the engineer preparing the report, I see no reason to remove them. They have the right to appeal to the Drainage Tribunal. Drainage tribunals have costs, and there's additional cost to go to the tribunal. I would just caution the owners that if you do go, you're going to have proof that you're not included in this watershed. Whether you think you should pay financially towards it or not is one thing, but the Drainage Act indicates that water that goes to the drain is liable for assessment under what's called outlet.
Anybody else? Okay, so would anybody like to make a motion to accept the report, or if you have any changes in mind?
Mrs. Daly was advised that she could speak today.
Okay, yep. Wait, hang on, Art. Oh, okay.
I'm Mary Daly, and my husband Glenn Daly is over there too. And your worship, Mayor Agar, and members of the Court of Revision, thank you for the chance to briefly speak. I'll try to be brief here.
Oh, you're good. There you go.
Am I on?
Yep,
Oh,
you're
okay.
good. Thank you.
And the McDonald Andrew Drain goes through our property from Courtright line south, almost the full length of our property, to the fence line between our line and, or our farm and the Ayers farm. And a lot of what I had thought I'd be saying was covered by the engineer's discussion. We don't have any complaint about our assessment shown in either of the reports. We think that it's fair. Both the 2024 report and the 2025 report, we feel that it is a lot of money. We, my husband and I, will be paying almost $60,000, which we feel is fair because our farm cannot be drained without being attached to the rest of the McDonald Andrew Drain. So we realize that we do need to pay our share. We would, however, like to appeal the decision made at the August 12th meeting, which changed the proposed route of the McDonald Andrew Drain. And you just heard from the engineer a little bit about that too. And we have several reasons for believing that the route described in the 2024 report is the best route to take. A shorter, direct route would drain our farm more quickly, and in order to make the route longer, in the 2025 report, the engineer had to design the drain to be dug deeper and the open part of the drain deeper and wider. And of course, these changes are going to require more labor and materials and a greater cost. Now, another reason for preferring the route laid out in the 2024 report is that it only requires the removal of approximately 0.47 acres of bush from the back of our farm. However, the 2025 report would require a removal of 1.17 acres of bush, over twice as much. And this would add to the cost of the project, both in money and ecologically, because the bush is mostly made up of mature Carolinian forest trees and plants, many of which are unique to southern Ontario. And we realize that Mr. Ayre does not want his own private tile disturbed. However, the original McDonald Andrew Drain went across the corner of his field because it followed the natural flow of water, and it was the shorter, more convenient direction for the drain to take. And Mr. DeVoe explained about the work he went to designing the second report. And Glenn and I spoke to a drainage contractor, Scott Wilson of Wilson Drainage, on September 3rd this year to ask if there'd be a problem attaching existing tile to a new cement tile. And he said that this type of connection's done frequently and it works well, as long as the main tile's designed to carry all the water from both the farms. So it's reasonable to assume that the present private drainage on the Ayre farm would suffer no ill effect if the McDonald Andrew Drain followed the route shown in the February 16th, 2024 engineer's report. The proposed changes in the design of the drain from the 2024 report to the 2025 report will have raised the cost of construction of the McDonald Andrew Drain an extra $39,000, over $39,000. We feel that this extra cost is unnecessary, and if the July 17th, 2025 report is passed, that we, the Dailies, should not have to pay for any of these extra costs, and that since Mr. Ayre is the only one wanting the design change in the 2025 report, that he should be responsible for paying the increased costs as shown in the assessment of that report. Okay. So
Okay, thank you. So
Thank
you've
you.
appealed to the tribunal, and they'll just discuss that one
Okay,
then.
thank you.
Thank you. Did you want to say something else, Art?
It may be out of order, I'm not sure, but would it be possible to have a meeting with the people on council who are affected on this drain and the people who are affected on the drain, actually on the drain? Dailies, ourselves, and the other ratepayers. Have a meeting over that where you can take the gloves off and we don't have to worry about procedure and all the rest of it and so on. Would that be possible?
I'll put that one on to Mike. I really don't know myself.
That way.
I think it's,
You people are up to date on what's going on.
I think it's pretty well at the end point now. Is Mike?
Yes, this is a meeting that's open to discuss whatever concerns the landowners may have, and normally that's where it's done. I mean, if you want to adjourn and have a separate meeting outside of this meeting and reconvene at a later date, you could. That's going to incur additional cost and time, but normally you would see it done at a meeting like this.
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
Just to add to that, we do have prescribed timelines within the act, and we're well within those now. So these appeals have to be sent off to the tribunal, and they'll be arranging the time for that hearing. So.
Okay. Thank you. So once again, would anybody like to make a motion to accept the report or to do something with the cost? Counselor?
Given Mr. DeVos's report, and if there is any adjustment in the assessment, it would have to come off one landowner and go on to another. And given the facts and stated in his report, I don't see where that can happen at this point, so I'll make a motion to approve the report as presented.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve. Do we have a seconder? Counselor Langus? Do you have that right now? Okay, any questions? Call the question. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4 opposed? Okay, approved. Yep.
That's your worship. Mr. DeVos, so correct me if I'm incorrect here, but we will be issuing another notice given the result of this, and they will have the opportunity to appeal that again back to the tribunal. Is that correct?
Yes, with regard to assessments, typically the decision of the Court of Revision is made public or formal, and then there's 21 days from that decision notice to the time period that the landowners, if they wish to appeal their assessment to the tribunal, they would submit an appeal at that time for the assessment appeal. Some of them may have been already in, which is very similar, but typically you would appeal directly to the tribunal at that point.
And just to confirm, those are two separate appeals, two separate processes, back to the same tribunal.
Court of Revision is separate from the tribunal.
Okay.
Okay.
That was making more for them.
Okay, thank you. So at this point, we have a motion to adjourn the court. Counselor Langstaff? Adjourn? Counselor Langus? Caught you fun. All those in favor? Carried. All right, thank you. So we'll go back, 320 Chris Van Grimberg, lights at Eric McKenzie Park, proposal.
You can do either one, Kerr. Either one.
That's a good one.
Thank you, Mayor Jeff Egger. You guys got the PowerPoint? Does it matter?
Terry can roll through it there.
Okay.
Terry, you PowerPoint it?
It doesn't, I can just read. Oh, okay.
Sorry, I led you astray there.
Okay. Again, thank you, Mayor Jeff Agar. I'm here today on behalf of Corunna Minor Athletic Association and then also myself as the head coach of the Corunna Senior Giants with an Eric McKenzie Field lighting upgrade proposal. And the reason that I'm here is Eric McKenzie Field. I don't know if, I'm assuming everyone is aware of who created it and how long it's been there, so I'm not gonna get into that, but if you did wanna do more research on that, there's a great article by a local journalist named Tara Jeffrey, and it's definitely worth checking out. So Eric McKenzie Field, key gathering place for our youth sports community leagues. We had 3 15U/18U teams from Corunna Minor played there this year. The Corunna Senior Giants. Sarnia Brigade recently reincarnated the Gold Bat Tournament, and they've used it the last 2 years. And Port Lambton Pirates have the Dave Leach Memorial Tournament that they've hosted there since its inception, I believe, back in 2012, but then was renamed. So the current lighting system is outdated, inefficient, and costly to maintain. Thank you. So we would look to replace the current system with new energy efficient LED lighting. There's a couple different ways to do that, either retrofitting it or removing the posts and putting in a whole new system. Obviously, one is more costly than the other. This would be more than a repair. It's an investment in the field's future, which we hope to continue to use. Unfortunately, the estimated cost right now is coming in at north of $400,000, which is obviously a significant cost. And something that I'm looking to do myself on behalf of Corunna Minor is start a fundraising directly for Eric McKenzie Field with a goal of raising roughly $200,000 would be my cap, but it would obviously depend on what we can try to push into capital if that is a possibility. Now, why do we want to do this? We got enhanced safety, so it's uniform, brighter light for players and spectators during the evening games. The reduced long-term costs, LEDs consume 50 to 75% less than our traditional lights that we currently have. There would be reduced maintenance, the lifespan of 25,000 to 50,000 operating hours, which is significantly longer than the current system. And environmental responsibility, which would reduce energy consumption, directly lowers the township's carbon footprint. And in conclusion, upgrading Eric McKenzie Field's lighting to LED is a fiscally responsible decision that generates immediate operational savings and provides a higher quality experience for all users. It is an investment in the future health, safety, and vitality of the St. Clair Township community, upholding the standard of excellence and volunteer spirit established by Eric McKenzie. We respectfully request the St. Clair Township Council approve this proposal and allocate the necessary funds for the prompt replacement of the existing lighting system with modern LED technology. Does anyone have any questions?
Thanks, Chris. It has to be done coming down the road. And I know I'll do all I can to get some grant money too. And yeah, does anybody else have anything? Counselor?
Through the mayor. Chris, is the ball season, it's come to an end now?
Typically, after Labor Day, it's done, and we might use it for another 2 weeks after for tryouts.
Deputy Mayor?
Thank you. Unfortunately, we can't just sit here tonight and allocate money to a particular fund. This will have to go to budget, like everything else. But I would like to ask, I think, Kendall, we're already looking at all the fields that have lights?
Through the mayor to the deputy mayor. So, yeah, well, there's several lit diamonds within the township. We've already replaced the diamond over along 80 Highway, and the township took that on and funded all of it. And a lot of the other ones were put up by volunteers back in the day. So the other lit diamonds in the township, there's one in Corunna, there's one in Brigden, there's one in Wilkesport, and then there's this one in Corright that's coming down, and they're all coming due to be replaced. All the infrastructure is pretty much the similar as our facilities. It's all starting to fail.
Okay.
The ones in Corunna, they weren't replaced at the time when we did all the streetlights, redid all them to LED a few years ago. Were they or not?
The ones along 80 Highway were done because they had to redo the drain there, so they had to dig up, and we actually had to replace the backstops as well, but the lights were in the way, so we did them at that. It all had to be done under a drainage project.
Yep.
So we did them at that time.
Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I want to make clear, I'm not in any way knocking this. It's something that we know we have to do it. I appreciate your commitment to it. And if you can raise more than 200,000, feel free. Like, we'll take any amount you can get.
I guess to add a little context to that, like that field obviously was built by volunteers, money was raised by volunteers, and we've enjoyed that for the past 30+ years. And again, with little to no cost from the township for all that free labor that Eric McKenzie put in at that field.
I will push for all my connections to try to see what there is for grants out there available, because there's lots of stuff usually that we don't even hear about until you ask, so.
Yes,
hopefully we can kick into something else there too, but yeah, it's a great project, so.
I'm started to looking into that stuff as well, and the handout that I submitted to you all is a proposal that if, with your blessing, I would like to reach out to local industries for some donations.
Go ahead, Counselor.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we approve his letter. It's well-written, and I think it's a good representation of what you want to do. I raised money for Dugan Field in Corunna, so I know exactly what you're going through, and you'll be amazed at how receptive people are, so good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have a seconder? All those in favor? Carried. Thanks.
Thank you.
I hope you get $1 million. All right, next is pickleball courts, Project Pickleball, John Van Hack. Push.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Brad, for lining this up for us. And today I'm here to talk about the possibility of pickleball courts in Port Lambton area at Brander Park. And Pete Ayler's here with me today. We're both kind of partnering on this. The initial phase to kind of find out if this is something that St. Clair Council would be willing to budget towards in the future. So just brief introductions. I'm just going to go over a little bit about pickleball. I'm not an expert on pickleball, but I wanted to just, in case there wasn't somebody here that didn't know anything about it, we'll go over it. Local demographics. I'm also not an expert on local demographics. You are, but I'm trying to build a bit of a case. I think you'll see on why we're looking to do pickleball courts. A bit of an idea of what we're thinking in the Brander Park, where we would position it, and then a bit of a partnership plan. So hopefully we're going to show our commitment that with St. Clair's commitment that we're fully committed to do all we can on our side to make this the most successful project possible. So once again, myself, John Van Heck, and Peter Ayler. So pickleball today. 1 million people play pickleball. It's one of the fastest growing sports in North America. Countless health benefits. It's a low-impact form of tennis, for no better analogy, and it really suits all age groups. It's got age groups from 20s to 30s to a lot of older people that are retired that stay physically active by playing it because it's doable into an older age. Accessibility and inclusivity. It's inclusive of all ages, all levels of skill. I can play, and a very good player can play. So everybody can join in the game of pickleball. Real social community aspect that brings communities together. It's a real social aspect. There could be leagues, tournaments that bring people together. Health benefits, specifically keeps aging adults active, supports improved health in the population. And availability of facilities. There's not a lot of facilities in proximity to the Port Lambton area. Wallaceburg just put in a new pickleball court recently. It's still quite a journey in a different municipality, but there's not a lot of accessibility right now to the people in the Port Lambton, Sombra, that part of St. Clair Township. Pickleball is hot. 11% of Canadian households have one member who plays pickleball. The biggest area of growth is women. It's plus 50% over the past 2 years. So just some demographics, pulled this off the internet. Population of St. Clair, almost 15,000. Of course, that includes an area that's further out, Corunna from Port Lambton. But what I'm trying to show is some age groups. So 28% of the people who live in St. Clair are in between 25 and 54. 55 to 69, 24, then over 70, 15%. There is a huge percentage of population that participates in this sport. On most sports, if you were to put tennis up here, you probably see fewer and fewer people that can participate in the 60 to 70 age group. This is a sport that keeps people active longer, healthier longer, out of hospitals longer. So we really want to get that across, and it's a real low impact but competitive sport. It's not something that is too easy or not important to people. It can be competitive and as fun as playing tennis. St. Clair Township obviously is a higher median age than Canada. I believe Canada right now is at 41 as the median age. So we have a beautiful park, and kudos to the township on that park. It's quite a jewel. You can see a lot of pictures here, what goes on there. It's a well-used park, and we think that by adding pickleball courts, it could be even further enhanced and have more utility to it. There are areas in it that we believe you could easily put pickleball courts in. There's no pointer on this, is there? Okay. So there's two parts to the park. There's the west part of the park right here. The west portion of the park, it's the pond and where a lot of the weddings take place and a little parking lot. Splash pad, you can see it here, the pavilion, washrooms. This piece of the park, I'm suggesting, is not very well utilized. It is a low-lying area. It has a little bit of water standing there when you can tell where the grass has died over time. But it's an area that's close to parking lots, also close to washrooms, is shielded very well from wind and from the rest of what's happening on the park. It's not so close that you'd be interrupting anybody that's in this part of the park where most people hang out and have their picnics. This would shield the wind, and then there's berms or hills around it that shield the wind. So it's a good placement, I believe, but there's also land on this side if council believed the west side could be utilized better. The issue with the west side could be that the parking could be a little further away before you find that flat area if you're not going to take berms out. And I believe there's one portable washroom there. The access to the full washrooms aren't on this side, they're on this side. But we do believe there's enough area, that certainly isn't to scale, but I believe there's enough area for a pickleball court. These pictures actually are of a recent pickleball, that's the Wallaceburg pickleball court that was put in. It's pretty much a great example of what we're thinking of. Two courts, fencing is part of it to keep the ball in, but there's also, they put a netting around it or a mesh around it just to keep the wind down, because in pickleball, if you've got wind, it really affects the ball because it's a really soft type wiffle type ball. So we know from talking that that project in Wallsburg, we believe, was about $250,000. Potential funding sources. Obviously, we're coming here to say, hey, can we get on a budget in the future? We know that without St. Clair Council finding this to be important and putting it into budget and recreation, that's probably not going to happen. You've talked about it to the presenter before me. Are there federal grants? Are there provincial grants? Especially towards that whole keeping people in their retirement years healthy. Right? As we have an aging population in Canada, are there grants that specifically would help in that? Donations in kind, I know Pete and I have talked about this. It says $250,000, but we probably could do it for a lot less, just with the partnerships we all have that we can all share on, cement, fencing, things like that. There are people we could approach for discounted rates if they were approved by the council to do the work to significantly bring that price down. And that's what I mean by donations in kind. A good example would be if we had a contact with someone at Lafarge that could give us cement at a reduced rate, it would bring the project down quite a bit. And we think we have those type of contacts to help out with. And then we're willing to do community fundraising. I know that's one thing I've done in my whole life. I've just moved to the St. Clair Township about 6 years ago, but in Wallsburg I was highly active with community fundraising. So, everything from 50/50s to dances to all those things you need, partnering with the Port Lambton Sports Association, finding those partnerships to bring that money in to help reduce that cost and share it so that our community is also paying from our own disposable money, not just our taxes, to pay for this. So we've got a fundraising target of $50,000. I have nowhere to start with that. It could be $100,000. What we're really looking for is for council to say, yeah, this is something that we think that is needed in the Port Lambton area, in St. Clair Township, and that we want to go forward with it. We'd love to partner, be your partners on that, work within the guidelines of the St. Clair Township. But, that could be $100,000. I know I was talking to someone that helped with the splash pad, and I believe they raised in the Port Lambton area over $100,000 for the splash pad. So I may have set my goal a little low, but I also don't want to come in here and tell you that we're going to find $200,000 without knowing where it's coming from. So I thank you very much for considering it and for your time today.
Thank you very much. And that is turning,
Yeah.
that has turned into a real popular sport. I know everybody you talk to. My neighbor here, he's quite a pickleballer. I don't know much myself, but anyways, yeah, everybody you talk to plays pickleball, so I think it would be a great thing.
Good.
Kendall, the one in Corona, how much did that end up costing, off the top of your head?
Right around the $300,000 mark.
So you're pretty close with your 250. Anybody else? Questions? Deputy Mayor?
Thank you. Yeah, great idea. However, as you just heard in the presentation before you, with the infrastructure we now have $400,000 to spend in court rate. I think this is going to happen eventually. I wouldn't expect to see it next year. So I would make a motion to refer it to staff to look at this, get some costs for us, and then we can decide whether we're going to refer to budget this year or not. That's my motion.
Okay, have that written down. Does anybody want to second that? Councilor Langus, did you have a question?
Through the worship, would the deputy mayor consider altering his motion a little bit to allow these guys to go out and start looking for funding so we can actually see what the financial impact would be?
They can look for funding anytime they want to. That's fine with me. But I'm just saying that from here, the money from here may not be in the next year or so.
Okay,
Good.
so there you're.
Yeah,
you're
thank you.
free to go and keep in contact with what you do find.
Yeah, we will move forward.
Yeah.
And I would say, Deputy Mayor, that I understand what you're saying. I also am, so I'm a chair of the St. Clair Catholic District School Board, so I understand what you're up against with that. But even if we could get on it in the 2-year cycle, that would be, excellent. I wasn't expecting you to say next year, but if you did, I'd shake your hand really firm right now.
Thank you. Councilor?
I just wanted to thank John for your presentation, and as counselor from the southern end of the township, I do believe there's a need for something down there, and I hope that As we said, I don't know when, but like the deputy mayor said, that this probably needs to happen, and hopefully we can work out some sort of solution, but a lot of it depends on fundraising and finances, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Counselor Langus, did you have something too?
Yes, I just wanted to ask Kendall, the area of Brander Park and being so close to the water, do you think that would be something to consider because of weathering and snow and wind and everything coming off the river?
Yeah, so I guess my comments on where they picked where, I think he nailed it with all the berms and around it. Typically, that spot was used for parking when the river run was huge and the car show was huge. They always use that for parking. But there is drainage issues there. So if they were going to put it there, we would have to make sure we're getting that water out of there, because if we don't make sure it's drained, you know, and then as for the weathering, it's Canada. You never know what these things are, you know, splash pads and tennis courts seem to be just, they want to heave, they want to move, and it's really frustrating when you build something like that and then Mother Nature takes its course. So I can't see putting it closer to the water because it wouldn't be good with the balls. But yeah, in that area would be good, but we'd have to, there was a plan to get drainage over there earlier when I first came on board as the director, but it was costly then to get that area drained. So drainage would have to be looked at if we're going to put it there.
More question to Kendall also about the area they have in Sombra, their outdoor pad that they have there. Is there any talk there about putting pickleball in on that surface?
Through the mayor, they already play pickleball there. Yep, they've been playing pickleball there. They have nets and they have, yeah. So they're set up through the summer. And there's also pickleball in Brigden. The tennis courts in Brigden are lined, right? So there's a little bit more
There you go.
pickleball than, yeah.
Is it an official, is it a tennis court or a pickleball court there?
It's just a multi-use pad, and then they bought portable nets for it. So it's not what you're showing there.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice staff.
I'd just like to reaffirm what Counselor Myers is saying. This is the third time it's been brought to me in the last, little while, that the need for pickleball courts is very strong down there. And I know with your community partners down there, you guys will get this done, and we look forward to supporting it sooner than later.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Counselor Brown.
I just want to chime in and say thank you for your efforts and enjoyed the presentation. It's sort of like when splash pads were the thing.
Yeah.
That in due time, once we get the fundraising and get a budget amount set aside, once we know exactly what the overall cost. But usually that was I think on the splash pads was always about a 50-50 cost, but nonetheless, all the best in moving forward with this venture. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's call the question. We have a motion. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you, sir. At this point, we're going to take a little 5-minute break, okay?